And then May 2nd, here we go. Pluto is going to retrograde. That's why I'm telling you, do not forget Pluto. He is very important in our lives right now. Not just in our personal lives, but in our society lives, in our generational lives, in our past lives, and our future lives. He is very important, okay? So, he is going to begin to get retrograde. He is going back into Capricorn. Remember when I told you guys, if you've been watching me, I said he's moving into, Pluto's coming into Aquarius, and Aquarius was only at first letting him go into the living room, and that's where he had to stay. This time he's moved his clothes in, but he didn't bring everything, and Aquarius is sort of letting him in a room besides the living room. Aquarius is adjusting to Pluto being there, and then I told you, remember, this summer he's got to go back and finish things up with Capricorn. That's why we're seeing the deaths. That's why we're seeing celebrities die. That's why we're seeing famous people die. That's why we're seeing, I told you, structures are coming down. It's going to end. Okay? Structures. I'd said this before. If they don't change, if these systems do not change, if they cannot adjust, then they will fall. Okay? That's what this last part where Pluto is going to go back into Capricorn and finish up, and then he's coming back here for the next 20 years. Okay? About 19, about that time. Okay? So, that's why I'm saying to pay attention to Pluto, because when he goes retrograde on May 2nd, do you guys remember what retrogrades are? This is when we're going to be rethinking, readjusting, reacclimating, reassessing, redoing whatever's been going on over here. Okay? This is the time that these systems, that are the systems that we are in, the systems that we want, this is that time where we're rethinking. Do I really want that? Do I really want to invest in that? Do I really want to participate in that? Do I really believe in that? That's what's going to be going on the personal level. But on a global level, it's readjusting, reassessing, all the re's, right? That's going to be happening. That's the first retrograde. So that's retrograde. Well, that's the second retrograde, because Mercury goes direct, and then 7 days later, Pluto, right? So I already did the Pluto series. I'm not going to go over exactly what Pluto does. We know about this. You can go look at my other videos. I'm finishing when I can, because I'm adjusting too. I had to move too, but a lot of you guys know that. So you can go look at my other videos to really get a handle on what Pluto is. And to me, I think of it more as the house that Pluto affects than the sign. We can get clues by the sign, but it's more the house when it's on the personal level. It's like, what area is it that we're trying to understand, release, grow through? Okay, so you can go back and look at my videos for that. But that's when Pluto goes retrograde. Okay, that's May 2nd. Now Pluto will be retrograde from May 2nd till October 12th. So we are going to have a long stint with Pluto here. And a lot of things are going to be happening during this time globally. But this is to prepare us for this new age, this new Aquarian, Aquarian energy. It's forward. It's very forward. I told you we're going to have a lot of things go forward fast, right? As well as dealing with all of this. This is why I need y'all to be clear now. This is why I need you to take advantage of the energy as it's working for you now. So as you see opportunities, don't get scared. Take them. Do it. Because this is just the beginning. This is a long retrograde, right? But it's because he's finishing up over here. So October 2nd. Then June 29th. Okay? So we're going to have Pluto retrograde. Mercury's come out of retrograde. So we're going to be thinking about the Pluto stuff. And then on June 29th, we get Saturn retrograde. Okay? So all of these belief systems, all of this understanding, all of this clarity that you're seeing, this is why we're seeing gurus, religion, all of that come down. We're seeing if they're not, mm, if they don't have integrity, if they have not done the right thing, if they, oops, sorry, I need to edit. Sorry about that. I'm still learning. This is why we're seeing this this Saturn in Pisces. This is why we're seeing the downfall of all of that, okay? But guess what? It's coming back around June 29th. So it's going to feel really, like for me, I can explain it as it feels kind of sticky. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. Some of you it'll make sense. It feels like molasses, like, oh gosh, like the energy is just, ugh, right? We're not only going to be dealing with Pluto here, we're going to be dealing with Saturn now. We're going to have to rethink, reassess, readjust, all of the redo with Saturn, because he's going to start retrograding back over this point. So pay attention to what's going on in this area of life. So wherever Pisces is in your chart, that's what's going to be redone, reassessed, reassembled, as well as Pluto. Okay, and that is from from June 29th. Oh, sorry, I gotta take another drink. From June 29th to November 15th. Okay, so we got all the summer and the fall and into winter to deal with Pluto and Saturn. So do you understand what I'm saying? Now's the time to do the things that you need to do. Okay, and then we're going to have Neptune here at 29 degrees. That's a very important degree. And the North Node is getting closer to here, right? So, I mean, it's not close, but it's still getting closer to here. But then we're going to be dealing with Saturn retrograde, Pluto retrograde, from June 29th to November 15th. Now, I will do a live on each one of these and do it for each sign. I think that's the way I'm going to do it. And that's what we'll be working on. And then on the side, I'm going to try to finish up the Pluto and start the Saturn series. Okay? So, remember, Saturn's father time. Saturn wants you to, he will reward you. He will reward you a lot. But he needs to know that you're responsible for it. He needs to know that you're ready. That's what he needs to know. Okay? Then, July 2nd, so that's May, June, July. So we got July 2nd. This is where it's going to get really sticky, okay? Because July 2nd, we have Neptune at 29 degrees going retrograde. I told you, 29 degrees is an important degree, okay? We're finishing up. Neptune is finishing up. And yes, Neptune goes retrograde back and forth, but this is a really important degree, okay? And not just that, but we're going to have, so if you guys know, the North Node and South Node always go retrograde. They go around this way where everything else goes this way, because these are just points, okay? So that's why you'll always see retrograde on here. That's just kind of a little side note for you guys. So Neptune is going to be retrograde. So we are going to be reassessing. So the things that are happening right now with these celebrities, with these systems, with these structures, with this thing, Pluto is going to retrograde and have you rethink that, look at it again. But Saturn's also having you redo as well. So by July, I told you it's not going to be an easy summer. It's going to feel like last year. Maybe even more so, but this year y'all are going to be clear about it. So you're going to have to be redoing this area of life, and you're going to have to be redoing this area of life, but you're going to have this. You're going to have help. You're going to have help, right? As Uranus and Mars move together, and then Jupiter comes over here, and then you have, Venus. You do have help, and I'll explain it more when I do each of the planets retrograde, okay? But just know this area of your life is going to be reassessed, re-looked at. This is why I say that, I mean, my belief is and my beautiful friend Lorna always says, what's for you will always find you. It'll never miss you, right? This is why I feel like that. So whatever maybe opportunity that you didn't take, it may come up again with these things. It may come up again. Maybe you felt like you couldn't do it right now if something comes to you, but you're going to get another shot. This is why we have retrogrades. You're going to get another shot at it, but it's not going to move easy. Where now it can move easy and fast. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. Where right now it can move easy and fast. In these retrogrades, things don't move fast. So you will get an opportunity again if you decide not to take an opportunity now, but just know that it's going to be harder work because you're going not with the moving forward energy, you're going with energy going this way. Does that make sense to everybody? So check your chart and see where Pluto, check your chart. Everybody should know, if you've been following me, where your Aquarius is, where your Pisces is. Check all of these, because that's the area of life that's going to be reassessed right now, right? Through the summer. Then we have July 26th. Then July 26th, right? So and Neptune is going to be July 2nd through December 7th. And again, I'm going to do a retrograde live on each one of these planets separately, but I wanted us to kind of know where we're going. This is kind of how I do it when I'm looking at charts, or looking like what's coming up in the future, right? What patterns are coming up in the future, and then I get channel messages and stuff. Anyway, that's just a side note. Okay, so Chiron. So Chiron, whatever happened here, when Chiron was over here and talking with this North Node and getting us through this thing, it's going to give us one more opportunity, because Chiron is going retrograde from July 22nd to December 29th. So that wound is going to come up again, but it doesn't have to hurt. Remember, it may be that if you've dealt with this wound this time, at this time period, when this solar eclipse happened and you moved through this North Node, I'm just giving you a scenario. It could be that I did take the action. I was brave. I trusted myself. I trusted the universe. Whatever it is that you did, and you worked with this wound. And this is on a global level too. Are we learning our lessons? Are we understanding better? Yes, we do have a problem with food. We have a problem with housing. We have a problem with people saying that we don't have enough, but are we learning? Because this is going to come up again, and it's going to have us reevaluate and reassess and redo, right? It's going to give us the opportunity, and maybe we didn't take the opportunity then, but maybe we're going to take it this time, but we're going to get the shot. July 26th to December 29th. Now, look at this chart. We're going to have Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and these are heavy planets. This is why last summer we were like, oh, why isn't anything going through, right? It's going to feel kind of like that. But I think that our perception will be different, because you're going to be aware and you're going to be like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, it's going to go a little slow, but I got this, right? So we're going to have, and look, it's at 0 degrees, retrograde, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron. So we are going to be reassessing all of this stuff that has been moving forward, all this opportunity that comes in. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Because maybe, let me think of a scenario. Maybe it's in your 10th house, and this area is your 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th. And so, okay, So I got the opportunity to go to, I'm just giving a scenario. I got the opportunity to go to school. And because I go to school, I'm going to get a better position. And guess what? It's a bigger position than I even thought of. But I'm not really sure if I want to take that because of whatever. And then when all of this happens, maybe you're reassessing. Okay, I've done the job, I did the schooling, I know what I'm doing, I feel a lot better, but I'd like to focus more on this area in my job. I'd like to focus more on this area. And you may get opportunity where they're like, you know what? You seem like a better fit over here than over here. This is just a scenario. Like, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. And then you find out because you're moving through this North Node, oh my gosh, this is stuff that may be hard for some people, but for me, it isn't even hard. So I'm working less, I'm getting paid double, and I'm much happier. Like, that's the stuff that can happen, right? It doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It's your perception. How are you taking this, right? So that's going to be happening. So Chiron, we're going to be dealing, that wound is going to come up again. I'm just letting y'all know. And then we have this trauma over here that we're reassessing. And then we have this really, really working and being clear and authentic. And then we have, I'm sorry, I heard a guy say, then we have the tomfuckery sometimes over here. Sorry. It's like she wants to make everything beautiful and she wants to have the illusion, but that's not gonna, it's gonna have her reevaluate that stuff. Okay. So I'll just leave that part there. It's just something I heard. And then guess what? Then, because you know, so you guys know Mercury goes retrograde 4 times a year, sometimes 3, but a lot of times 4. Okay. So then we're going to go to August 5th. We're still in the summer. I told you it's going to feel really in the summer, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as last time because last time we just, a lot of us were like in our real feelings and then reassessing, did we even know what we were doing, right? This time we're a lot more clear. This time we have that North Node involved. So August 5th, then we have Mercury go retrograde. So there's Mercury going retrograde. It's going to go in Virgo. Okay. Sorry. So Mercury's going to go retrograde in Virgo. Right? I'm just thinking for me, that's kind of dangerous. So we're going to be reassessing, redoing, reevaluating, communication again, right? Is our truth the truth? Or is it just the truth that we think it is, right? That's kind of that Mercury retrograde because it's got Venus there too and the moon. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's going to be a deeper one. But we'll talk about that later. So by August 5th, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets retrograde. Our bigger part of our life is going to be about reassessing at this time, really thinking, really redoing, pivoting, restructuring, all the re's. Okay. So, and it's heavy. It's going to be a lot. Like, it's going to be, okay, is this how I want to see it go? Is this what I really believe? Is this what I want to do? Is this how I want to be? Is this the relationship I want? Is this the partnership I want? Is this the business partnership I want? Is this the, like, all of these things. With this, for on a personal level, like, this pattern seems to happen all the time. Why does it been pattern? Why has this pattern happened again? I'm releasing this, and that's what I feel like you're going to be doing here with this Pluto. But on a global level, it's going to hit hard. Okay? Does that all that make sense? All right. And that Mercury is going to be from August 5th through the 28th. Okay? So, y'all are going to be so glad that it's, like, usually we're like, ugh, Mercury retrograde. But with all these other retrogrades, y'all are going to be so thankful that Mercury only went retrograde for a little bit. I mean, yeah, he comes back around, but it's just for a little bit, right? And I think it's to process all of this, because the moon and Venus. So I feel like, look how he's talking over here. I feel like when I'm just looking at this, I'm like, y'all got some stuff coming here. Like, we've got not just releasing, but emotions. I see gifts. I see the big thing coming. I see, all of that. I see it as gifts coming through. I see it as some of the finality of some things, right? Like, oh, finally that thing came through. Oh, yes, that's going to happen. Oh, goodness, that came from nowhere. Like that kind of stuff. That's Mercury retrograde here with these two, and he's talking over here, right? Especially over here too. Look at him over here. Okay. So that's August 5th to August 28th. Now, this one I'm a little bit worried about. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit worried about this one. So then we have September, right? So I told you there's a retrograded planet going retrograde every month from now until December. I mean, from May 2nd till December. Well, actually from now too, right? So then we have September 1st, which Uranus. So Uranus is going to go retrograde. Here's Uranus. Sorry. Did I do it like I was supposed to do it? Probably not. Hold on. Okay. There we go. All right. Then we're going to have Uranus. Uranus is going to retrograde right here at the end of Taurus. So he's still going to be in Taurus. This is, to me, on a global level, we're going to see some stuff happen. Okay. It's not going to be as big because we won't have Jupiter there, but it is going to be a reassessment of that. So maybe what we thought we saw, because we have Neptune over here with the tomfoolery, maybe what we thought we saw on a global level, we kind of get shocked about, no, that's not what it really was. We could have that coming up. We could have that going on. But in our lives, whatever was happening with this big conjunction happening on the 20th of this month, the one that I talked about earlier, this is reevaluating that. This is reassessing that. This is redoing that. And whatever's going to go on a global level, we're going to be reevaluating, reassessing, redoing, pivoting, all the re's. Okay. Now look at this chart. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Mercury went out of retrograde, but then Uranus came in. Okay. 5. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 retrogrades. So this side of your chart, we're going to be reassessing. This part of your life, we're going to be looking at again. And this has to do with this North Node. This has to do with as you're releasing, as you're taking the action, as you're making the choice, as you're reassessing, as you're redoing. It's like you get one step closer through that door, through that North Node, to your ultimate journey that you wanted to have. Does all that make sense? All right. So there can be some shock and awe again, but this is more internally. So when Uranus retrogrades, it's more about what we've already seen, what the shock was, and then us reevaluating it. Okay. So it's not like where it was before, where you're going to see, like I said, it's upheaval, it's warring, it's like what we're going to see, because we're going to see something. But this is reevaluating that. And I do feel like it has something to do with, see how they're talking? This has something to do with us not seeing it correctly and reevaluating it and actually seeing it correctly. Does that make sense to people? Okay. So that's Uranus. So that's from September 1st all the way to January 30th. Uranus is going to be retrograding. We are going to really be reassessing our lives, reassessing how we see society, reassessing how we see this earth, reassessing how we do things, reevaluating, readjusting. All of this, again, it's internal, but we're making the choices. Does that make sense? So it's a long retrograde because I'm telling you, it has to do with us going through here. Okay? Then October, October 9th. So whatever we had happen, October 9th, look at this chart. I have to laugh because what are you gonna do? You gotta laugh about it, right? It's that Saggy part of me. And some of you Saggies know. It's like, what are you gonna do? Laugh or cry? Might as well laugh about it. Okay, so October 9th, then we have the Jupiter retrograde, okay? So there's going to be some big understanding, some big shifts, some big, yeah. I feel like your growth is bigger during this time. Like coming to terms with, like, settling into your choices, settling into your life. Like, because these will have been retrograded for a while. It's like, okay, now I'm getting in the groove of what I'm doing. Now I've already reevaluated this, and as something comes in, I'll pivot a little, but I kind of know the main focus of what I'm trying to do or trying to be or trying to see, or with society on a global level. It's like, yeah, we're coming to terms with all of this stuff. And I think when Jupiter retrogrades, we're going to have like this bigger understanding, and some past opportunities could come to us, but this is more about this bigger perception, understanding. It's almost like I feel like we're coming to peace with this. Does that make sense? So, but look at this. If you're ignoring, if you haven't done the work, if you're getting frustrated because things aren't going your way and blah, 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 like we were last summer, right? If you're in that, then you've got work over here to do. Okay? If not, I feel like some peace and understanding and resolutions can come, because we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets retrograde. Now, I think a lot of you are like me, especially. I think we've talked about this before. I was born with 7 planets retrograded. So this energy is okay for me. It's not the best, but I know how to work in it, right? This is why I'm telling you guys. This is why I'm showing you this, because you can work in this and it can be to your benefit. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not thinking special because I have all these retrogrades. What I am is stubborn, because apparently I'm coming back to do all these again because I was stubborn, right? So that's not something that needs, it's not something that I'm proud of, but it is who I am in other lives. So we're going to have all this. This is where, if you guys remember, I think it was August, September, and the beginning of October, where all of us were like, oh, like maybe even end of July of this last year, 2023, sorry, that we were like, oh, nothing's coming about. I'm trying everything. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and nothing's coming about. Like that could be this energy that you're feeling if you haven't seen me. If you haven't prepared, you're going to be having that feeling, because that's like, look at all those planets retrograde. And this is all to get you here. And isn't that funny how now we have the Par of Fortune? Now, what's really funny is the day that I was going to go on live, I was going to do the Par of Fortune to explain that to you guys, because I had a whole thing that I was going to tell you guys about the Par of Fortune, how to work with it. But I had to move. So I got uprooted. So just know that this is your best point to get things through. Does that make sense? So that's why I feel like you're going to have some relief, some peace, some understanding, some resolution. I do feel like resolution. Okay. Now it's not, it's a longer, like all of them, they're longer retrogrades. Because that's from October 9th to February, October 9th to February 4th. So it's a longer retrograde. But that's because the universe, our higher selves, kind of knows exactly the time that we need. Some of us will do it faster. Some of us are stubborn and will do it later. Y'all already know how stubborn I am. I just said 7 retrogrades when I was born. So I'm stubborn. I've learned not to be anymore. But it's kind of how you decide. If you're seeing something, if you see the red flags, as you like to say, as people like to say, the younger generation, if you see the red flags and you're not paying attention and you're ignoring them, well, guess what? That's not going to be peace right away. But if you're seeing it, you're seeing me, you're coming on the lives, you're getting some understanding, you'll be prepared for this, okay? Because this is not an easy energy. This is not. But it's not going against you. Don't feel like this is going against you. It's here so that you get the chance to reevaluate and make sure that's where you're headed. That's where you want to go. That's the thing that you want to do, right? Okay. And then on, where is it? November 25th. Okay. Remember I told you guys, Mercury retrogrades mostly 3 times a year, but sometimes 4 times a year. This year he's gonna do it 4 times a year. So, oops, I did it again. Sorry, still learning to work with this thing. Okay. Okay, so we got Mercury retrograde, and it's gonna retrograde in Sagittarius, right? So Mercury retrograde is going to be happening from November 25th to December 15th. This is about, I think, processing all of this. So you're coming to some peace here, and then you're coming to some understanding here. Does that make sense? And look how they're opposite, right? But I don't think it's just this. I think it's this. See how he's talking? He's talking to all of them. He's talking to them. He's talking to that. See how he's talking to them? He's like, let's get you some peace. Let's get you some understanding so that you can have this peace. Let's get you somebody saying something and mirroring you so that you understand better, so that you come to acceptance from your choice and some peace. Does that make sense? Again, I'm going to go over every one of these retrogrades in a, like, each of them, give them a live, and we'll go into each sign. We'll see how it's aspecting and all that. But I kind of just wanted to give you guys a roundabout about what's going to be coming up, because this is not an easy energy. Okay, then we have our last retrograde. And then we'll be like, whew, we did it. And our last one is this doozy here. So we have Mars retrograding. And look at the degree. It's a 6 degree, but it's right by that 0. And you know Mars, he just wants to do what he wants to do. Okay? So December 6th through February 24th of 2025. That's how long we are going to be retrograding. And then I think he's the last one. Yeah, he's the last one to unretrograde. Yeah, I think by the end of February is when we'll finally be free. Like, it's going to be, by the time February 24th comes along, some of these are not going to be retrograded anymore. So we're going to feel a little bit easier. But this is where we can stumble. So if you think about, like, we've been being held back, we've been restricted, we've been rethinking, we've been recessing, we've been all of the re's, right? And then all of a sudden, the energy is progressing forward again. Because as these come to station direct, right, to go direct again, it's energy, it's like a thrust of energy. All of a sudden you're like, ooh, and you can kind of misstep, right? So think about it that way. Like if you're being held back and then all of a sudden somebody lets go and you're pushing, you can misstep. You'll be like, oh, you know, you kind of misstep, right? So just remember as these go, as you're coming to some peace, as you're coming to some understanding, things are going to start feeling a little faster. But Mars retrograde is going to make you rethink, did I put my boundaries? Did I do the right thing? It's going to have you rethink that stuff. Am I looking out for myself? Did I find the right resources? Did I make the right decision? Did I do all of that? And it's internal. And for me, when I feel like it's internal like that, you can find people, because we're all going through this retrograde, who are aggressive unnecessarily, or it doesn't make any sense to you, right? But it's because we're reassessing our ego. We're reassessing our actions. We're reassessing, redoing all of that. Does that make sense? So that will be from December 6th to February 24th. And then we're done. We're going to be into 2025. It's going to be... This is why I'm doing all this work. This is why I really need you guys to know, because I've already said this and I can start saying it now. I've already said it, but I'm going to do it soon. I'm being impressed upon to do it soon. I have told y'all since 2023 that 2025, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. 2024 is about the change. 2025 is about, I can't even explain what I'm seeing. I guess I can't really explain. I guess I'm not really supposed to say it yet, because I can't even conceptualize what I'm seeing. I've just seen since 2023, it is not going to be easy for most. That doesn't mean everybody. And I am doing my best, and I know everybody around me is, and everybody that knows me is getting prepared, is getting ready. For what? We can't say yet, but just know it's going to be here. It's going to be about Aquarius. Sorry. It's going to be about Aquarius. Look at this. It's going to be about some major changes that we're having to, and some of us, if we know, because you've been watching, because you've been doing, because you've been releasing, because you're very clear, because you trust yourself, because you know you're the resource, because you know you have your community around you, because you've been working on that, all of that. For those people, for us people, that's not going to be scary. But this is the time where people are going to look to you in 2025, because they're going to be lost. They're not going to know what to do. They're going to be afraid. And this is why I'm doing this. One of the reasons, because they are going to be afraid. It is not going to be easy for a lot of people, but for some of us, it's going to be easier. If we can get through 2026, we're good. It's going to be a lot better. Okay? So that's all I have to say about that. Get ready for all these retrogrades. We've got the big conjunction coming tomorrow and the next day and the next day until like 7 days. Think about what you were doing in 96, 97, the end of 96 and into 97, and then 2010 to 2011. What were the themes going on? That's that Uranus, Jupiter transit. That's that conjunction. So if you can think about what was going on. I'm sorry, my throat is dry. If you can think about what was going on, then it's going to help you better prepare and see what's going on personally. On a global level, I told you, it's in Taurus. We're going to see storms. We're going to see volcanoes. We're going to see tsunamis. We're going to see maybe all of that, maybe only 2 of that, but it's going to be disruptive. So don't be afraid. Remember, let me say that again. We can all be afraid. Don't sit in the fear. Use the fear, because you've done this before. All of you are prepared for this. All of you are seeing much clearer. All of you are trusting yourselves. So you can be afraid for a second because it is jarring. It's Uranus, right? You can be afraid for a second. You can even use the fear to motivate you. Just don't sit in it. Just don't dwell on it, but acknowledge it. And acknowledge that you are afraid when you are afraid, right? But use it. All of you are capable. You're more than capable. You are all old souls. You can do this.